I recently sailed on Fred Olsen's Borealis, where I was on deck 2 and inside cabin 2571. Despite being on deck 2, we didn't hear any engine noise at all, and it was a really quiet cabin. Let me show you around where we stayed for our 9-night cruise around the British Isles. So if we come in, I'm now standing directly up against my door. This is what it looks like when you first walk in, and regrettably it is somewhat old-fashioned. The carpet, the bright green carpet, and the stripy, oddly placed curtains are not really giving, but they're not offensive, they're serviceable, they're clean. So if I walk forwards first, let's just walk into the main body of the cabin. So if I carry on this way, this is a 3-berth cabin. So the third person has a sofa bed. I have slept on this all week. It is pretty comfortable, although the mattress is on the firmer side. So if your child, or maybe third adult who is occupying this cabin, prefers a softer bed, you might want to ask your room steward for a mattress topper. Up here, above the third bed, there is this nice piece of artwork that just appears to be of the British seaside, as a nod to the fact that Fred Olsen is a family-owned company operating out of Britain. If we follow on round, up here on the wall, there is pegs. Now, I will say, as a 5'6" girl, these are pretty high in the air. In fact, me and my mum had to throw our coats at them and just hope they landed on the peg. So if you're a little bit shorter than me, you might want to bring some magnetic wall hooks with you so you can pop the hooks further down the wall. If we pan down from the coat hooks, there is this little table. When we first got our cabin on day 1, this little table was directly in front of this sofa bed, but it made walking about the cabin really difficult, so we've just popped it there. If we carry on round, this cabin has been configured as 2 singles. So 1 single bed here with a bedside cabinet, 1 single bed here with a bedside cabinet. Now, let's talk about this curtain feature, because it is the most bizarre thing I have, quite frankly, ever seen. Now, normally if you're in an inside cabin, this back wall here is normally a big mirror in the name of making your cabin look bigger. Fred Olsen have gone for this fake window situation. You're meant to assume that behind the curtains there is a window where you can see the outside world, but it's an inside cabin, so behind the curtains there is in fact a wall. If we carry on round, so there's the other bed there that you've just seen. There is this large modern TV on the wall. This does have interactive movies on the bigger lines, so while you're getting ready for the evening you can pop a movie on as background noise, or if you're the kind of person that likes an early night, you might want to come back and watch one. Over here we have the vanity area, so we've got a chair, 3 drawers, a large desk space with all of our chargers on it, and this big mirror. Now, this does serve relatively well as a place to get ready. However, we have had some issues with it in terms of using hot hair tools. Now, this won't bother everybody. Not everybody wants to use a hot hair tool, but these plugs down here are not actually high enough voltage to run a pair of straighteners. If you plug a British pair of straighteners into here, they just make an awful sizzling noise like they're about to explode, and they don't actually heat up. So if you're coming on Borealis, you might want to bear that in mind. If you have short hair like I do, you're going to spend the whole week trying your very best to not look like a triangle. We have done a lot of blow drying my hair straight so that I don't just look like a big frizzy headed mess. Down here, you'll notice that I've got a 4-gang. We pack a 4-gang every single time we cruise, but it's actually on the list of prohibited items by a cruise line. I will say this is my 23rd cruise and we have never had the 4-gang taken off us, and it makes life so much easier because it's quite often only a few plugs in here, and in a modern day and age everybody has a lot of appliances. Over here we have bottled water. This bottled water is nut free, but Fred Olsen have made that nice and obvious for you by popping a label on it. This is our hairdryer from home, because if you've ever tried to use a ship's hairdryer, you'll be there a very long time. Bringing your own hairdryer does work. It's just as powerful as it would be at home, and underneath is all the bump that came with the cabin, so it's just like a series of brochures about booking your next Fred Olsen cruise. Right, if we carry on round, there are these wardrobes. Now I have to say, these are the most bizarre wardrobes I have quite frankly ever had in a cabin, and it's almost like they don't fit. It's a bit like they've put regular IKEA MDF furniture in the cabin and they're just a bit big and bulky for the space, and you'll see when I open them that they're also configured quite oddly. So if we open this first one, in this first one you've got a shelf at the top where we've chucked the throw cushions and we've moved the Bible that comes in your cabin. You've then got quite a long hanging space in this first one, and at the bottom there is the tea service and the fridge. Now this is not a very large hanging space when there is 3 of you in a cabin. It would be absolutely fine if you were a single or a double, but if we close this door and then we move on to this door here, this one has got shelves in it, then you're safe, and then this really bizarre hanging space at the bottom is just really oddly placed. We've got t-shirts hanging in there. I imagine it's probably designed for hanging your suit trousers, and on the back here they've got all these like what are tie clips, but are quite indicative of being an old-fashioned line. You certainly wouldn't see those on a sail where you're not expected to wear a tie. If we carry on into the third wardrobe, this is actually the only place in the cabin with a full-length mirror. So it is quite awkwardly placed. I have been shooing everybody out of the background all week while I take outfit pictures, because if you stand here and try and take one, you're going to end up with whoever is in your cabin in the background of your shot. This is actually the only full-length hanging space in the cabin. So this is where if you have long dresses, long trousers, etc., they're all going to have to end up in this one tiny space. Once again, not a problem if there isn't many of you in the cabin, but once it turns into a family in a cabin, it's a pretty tight squeeze. And on the end here there is 2 more, so if we pop these, this one is configured even more oddly. So those are our life jackets, you know, in case we need to abandon ship. But on this one, the rail faces outward and you're not going to get many things on it. But it is a long hanging space. It's just a pretty small space. And there are more life jackets at the bottom. So it's not that there is a lack of storage. There is storage in here. It's just laid out really weirdly. Right, it is time to tackle the smallest part of the cruise ship cabin, which is of course the bathroom. So on the back of the bathroom door, there is 4 hooks, which are helpful for hanging up your wet towels so that they can dry off. If I take the step up into the bathroom, the first thing you're going to be looking at is your towel rack. Now, if you've never cruised before and it's your first time, you do not need to pack towels when you come on a cruise ship. They automatically come with your cabin, and that includes your bath towels and your beach towels. You don't need to pack either of them. If I spin all the way around, on this side there is a series of shelves for stacking your toiletries on, and these are actually a great space. We haven't had any issue with shelf space. If we then go across, this is your vanity area, lots of room either side and a nice big sink, room for toothbrushes and hand wash, and of course a nice big mirror, so to help if there's multiple of you getting ready in the cabin, one of you in the bedroom and one of you in the bathroom. If I pan back around, underneath the towels on this jazzily tiled flowery wall, there is the toilet. I'm not going to tell you all how a toilet works. You know how a toilet works. Having said that, this is my 23rd cruise and this is the loudest cruise ship toilet I have ever had. It suctions for a very, very long time, and I'm guessing that is something to do with the age of the ship, because Borealis is 28 years old, so she's definitely getting on a bit. On this side we have the shower, complete with dreaded clingy shower curtain. Now the actual shower itself is very, very powerful and very, very hot, and I was grateful that it has a nice simple mode of operation with these two dials. All the people who wear glasses will feel me when I say this. If you are a full-time glasses wearer and you can't see very well without your glasses on, you are always grateful when the shower is easy to operate, because it is very, very hard to operate a shower when you've taken your glasses off to go in the shower. However, grateful for the easy operation, but this shelf is not practical. It is absolutely tiny to be stacking everything on when there is multiple of you in a cabin. So we've got 2 sets of shampoo with us, shower gel, a bar of soap, a bottle of conditioner, and getting them all on this shelf without knocking something off every time you pick something up is nigh on impossible. Your shower does come with body wash affixed to the wall if you need it. You might want to pack less in your suitcase, and it's helpful to know that this is there. And of course there are some grab rails fitted to your shower, either because you might be a bit older and you might need some assistance, or just because sometimes you do get rough weather at sea and they can be helpful to stop you falling over. Up here in the top of the shower we have a washing line, which is actually a regular cruise ship feature to help you do things like dry your swimming costume when you're at sea, because you're not actually allowed to peg them to the balcony in case they go overboard. So there you can see we've got the conditioner on the floor because it just wouldn't fit on the shelf. It's actually a pretty big shower space in terms of like square footage down here. I've had much smaller showers on ships. And the shower curtain isn't the clingiest I've had. Yes, shower curtains are annoying, but I've definitely had worse shower curtains that virtually affix themselves to you while you're trying to have a nice relaxing shower.